Hello, everyone, and welcome to You'll Probably Agree. I am here with Johnny Lang from, what's the name of your film company? I did my
I'm the
research.
producer, CEO of the Lost Child Films. You
Yeah.
can find my work at vimeo.com/lostchildfilms.
Link below.
Link in the comments or below. Last time we talked about a link on screen. It wasn't there in the final product, so.
It was in the description. You know, it was there.
But I expect one extra play per film after this podcast. That's my payment. Plus, you can see this sexy mustache.
Oh, he's got the porn stash going, yeah.
Next week when I release Unresolved Consequences,
Yes.
the newest film.
So anyways, let's talk about the big hitter of the year, which is Avengers Infinity War. I already gave my initial impressions, so I'd like to hear what you think. I think we actually agreed on this film, hopefully.
Agreed that we liked it?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you a little bit of my history with Marvel. I'm not a comic book guy. I didn't grow up reading comics. I don't quite have that attachment to these characters. But I think if I'm going to compare DC to the Marvel universes, definitely I think we can all agree that Marvel's doing a much better job of making quality, consistently good films.
Yeah.
But I've had a kind of a rough relationship with the last couple. Like I see that they're good movies and I like them.
Yeah.
But I'm not like, I don't need to see them again. Like I don't geek out about it, right?
Yeah.
So I was really hoping to see something different with Infinity War, which they offered like in a big way.
Yeah.
Even the last couple Marvel movies, which got really great reviews, was Black Panther, which was great and historically important. But it was just like it didn't seem much better than Captain America: Civil War or the Iron Man 1 or 3. I don't think Iron Man 2 was any good, was it?
Iron Man 2, no, it was bad.
Iron Man 2 was bad. Sorry, Tony Stark, it was bad. Thor Ragnarok, probably the only Thor movie I did not fall asleep during. So that was my my judgment for that movie, was that I stayed awake for the entirety of Thor Ragnarok.
Well, they had that guy who directed it, who did Hunt for the Wilder People. And,
that's a good movie.
He's a real kind of like
What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, he's like a real kind of crazy guy. It's like you should embrace that crazy guy because he'll give you a good movie.
No, they did a good job. I thought it was too funny, And there's a lot of problems I've had with Marvel, and they kind of fixed it with this movie. Now, the real test is going to be how they resolve everything in Infinity War Part 2. Yeah. Whether or not it turns into this other kind of Marvel movie. But for now, Infinity War just blew me away. And, we can talk more about some of the choices they made. Mike, what would you?
Right. Well, obviously, if you're watching this video, it's going to have spoilers because there's no way to talk about this or any film without spoilers, really. Because we could just go off of very broad generalities. I like the fact that this was a movie where the Russo brothers always played it safe with all of their Avengers films and any other director.
What did they do? They did Civil War.
They did Civil War. I think they do the first of... No, that was Joss Whedon who did
Joss Whedon
Avengers.
did both the Avengers movies.
Oh my God, you're right. He did
Part 2, which Avengers 2 is probably one of my least favorite Marvel movies.
Okay, so here's like what Avengers 2 did wrong, what this movie did right.
Yeah.
This movie had even more characters than Avengers 2. As a matter of fact, Civil War had more characters than Avengers 2. Avengers 2 had Spider-Man 3 syndrome, where they put in as many characters as possible, but it didn't know how to balance it out, and the overall plot was extremely confusing because of it. Because Whedon just didn't know how to handle that. The Russo brothers do a good job where he doesn't just extend the length for the sake of extending the length like Spider-Man 3 did. He actually is able to take his time with each of these characters, and sure, with a movie like this, it has a 2.5-hour length. There are times where you forget like about Spider-Man and those guys or Captain America, and then they come back and like, oh yeah, they're in that film. But it did a stunningly good job of having all these characters in this movie.
Yeah.
Because they've had all these individual solo films that were actually quite good with these characters. With Spider-Man, with Iron Man, with Captain America, and the Guardians of the Galaxy, of course. So we didn't have to like establish them again.
Right.
They were already there. So we could just jump into the story. Now, if you're someone who's never really seen these Marvel films before, and you're just going in, you're not going to know what in the fuck is happening or who the hell is who.
I still think it was really entertaining.
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, but it was able to balance those so well, and we had an antagonist where I remember my main kind of concern with this movie was this is just going to be another villain of the week. This is going to be Apocalypse, but in 2 parts. You know.
Well, let me say that I think Marvel solved their villain problem. I think other people will say what that villain problem is probably up to like debate.
Yeah.
But I think Thanos was not exaggerated in the way like
No.
just immediately what comes to mind is Kate Blanchett in Thor Ragnarok. It was like a cartoon almost. And
I didn't see it, so
same thing with the who was Avengers 2 who was the bad guy.
Oh, in the second Avengers,
Yeah.
it was I don't remember the character's name. Ultron.
Ultron.
Of course, his name is in the title.
I mean, it was okay. I like Age of Ultron, but he was like ultimately
I was thinking of the actor who
defeatable.
voiced him. What's his name? He was always like in all those Steven Soderbergh movies, and he was in Crash. Like he always played like sex addicts in movies in the 90s. I can't remember his name. Ultron's a sex addict.
Yeah.
But anyways,
the first moment in this movie is basically Thanos.
All right, spoilers, spoilers. All right, we're already in spoiler territory, so skip to the end of the review. If you spoil it for yourself and you get mad at me, then go fuck yourself. Anyways.
Thanos is torturing all these people,
Yeah. kills
Loki
He
violently.
snaps his fucking
Like,
neck. He Man of
Loki
Steel's Loki.
dies within 5 minutes. And for me, I was like, oh man, I really hope that he just stays dead, that there's no more Loki in any movie.
They even
like,
joke about
they've
it,
done
too.
That piece.
They joke about it like he's been dead before.
Yeah.
But it's like, nah, this time it looks, I mean, that was a loud neck snap.
And there's some other deaths throughout the film where I'm like, okay, if this person comes back, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Now, we'll get to the ending later. But it was, that first death, I'm like, all right, maybe it's time for Marvel to start killing off these characters. You know? Or the ones that matter, at least the ones who stayed dead in the comics, I guess. I don't know the comics. I read a little bit about the Thanos story after I saw the movie, so I had a little bit of know what's gonna happen next because I was really sad. At the end.
And for my friends who are like really big, I wanted to really get my friend Matt on this because he's like obsessed with comics, and like he said, there's like the difference between the movie and the comic is drastic, you know. So I don't know what happened there, but I mean, I did like the fact that the sacrifices in this movie, it didn't feel tacky. It didn't feel like it was directed by Brett Ratner from X-Men Last Stand, where he clearly...
Shall not mention his name.
Yeah. Well, now he's blacklisted from Hollywood for, you know, eating a fucking chicken nugget or a piece of shrimp while naked, you know, in front of some girl. But anyways, that's the Brett Ratner we're talking about, who directed X-Men The Last Stand.
3, one of the worst of the...
Yeah, and the reason... Now, I had some critic friends who were saying, this is like X-Men 3. They're just killing people off for cheap thrills. All right, when X-Men 3 had their sacrifices, all right, clearly Ratner didn't care about these characters. He killed them in the most insulting way. It really didn't do anything to evolve the plot other than to have a cheap kill. And here, these are movies where we got to know these characters, we got to love them, and ultimately there are some hints that they're gonna bring them back.
Yeah.
Because it's a money train, and you're not gonna kill off. Fuck it. You're not gonna kill off Spider-Man. You're not gonna kill off. Who else to kill off? Like fucking 90% of your characters. You're not gonna kill off Black Panther when he had like one of the hugest openings of all time, because they have to bring it back to life. They're gonna X-Men Days of the Future past this bitch. That's what they're gonna do.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just read. Should we talk about the ending now? Because
yeah, we might as well.
Right. So the ending, what happens is Thanos gets every single Infinity Stone, and then he has this power, and he's walking. He's just pacing around. He literally owns the world. Like he owns the world. Like you know these people who walk into a place like they own the place, and you're like, screw that guy. That's
Donald Trump.
Maybe. And then you've got Thanos, who gets all these stones and literally owns the universe. Like he controls the universe. He is
Yeah.
God. He is God. And everybody just like turns into these little like flakes and
Yeah.
just disappears. Everybody.
They just fade into the wind.
Who do we lose? Who do we lose?
Who lives? Yes, who lives? Because
Who lives?
basically, you know that old joke, like when someone says, "What happens in the movie?" and you joke, "Well, everyone dies." This time, everyone dies, except for Captain America.
Oh, he was still around at the end?
Yeah, Iron Man, Black Widow, Bruce Banner, because he can't Hulk out. He's like, I don't know why. He's like he just, I guess like he's just impotent right now or something. I don't know. Basically, the original of the original Avengers. Like all of those guys are there. Captain America, Thor. No, he lived, right? Did Thor live?
I don't know. Well, I just looked it up. I looked
cheating.
up the death toll here.
Okay, well, no cheating,
So-
but I'm gonna say.
So we're gonna talk about the deaths of these characters.
Yeah.
So the characters that died that got whisked away by the ash, that became ash, were
By the ass.
by the ash. Vision
Yeah.
died pretty violently. Bucky, Groot, Black Panther, Drax, Mantis, Star-Lord, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Maria Hill. I don't know who Maria Hill is.
Who the fuck is Maria
Is that
Hill?
that's Captain Marvel.
Oh,
that's in the post-credit sequence.
Yeah, she's in the post-credit. That you don't see
And
her.
then
They
Nick
just
Nick Fury. Or whoever.
no, not Nick
who's
Fury.
Maria Hill? Is Maria Hill, the girl from How I Met Your Mother? Okay. Anyway, moving on. Nick Fury. Oh,
So
it
yeah,
has to be
anyone
Bruce
who's
Willis.
not the original Avengers from the first film died. All the original Avengers survived.
Okay, but the deaths I want to know about.
Yeah.
So clearly they're not. I mean, Black Panther just had the biggest opening, most money making. Just beat Titanic
Yeah.
overseas for.
I think a lot of movies have beaten Titanic by now.
Well, yeah, but it's just like Titanic is like the level, right, to beat
Yeah.
on these movies. I mean,
we're
clearly,
just constantly sinking that ship.
clearly we know that character is going to come back in some way.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange has to come back because in the comic books, it's Doctor Strange that brings everybody out of the soul.
Now, that's how they're going to
Jim.
fix it with the next one that I wanted to say.
Okay.
Remember, Doctor Strange went through either 4 or 14 million possibilities throughout time and where they would win against Thanos, right? And then they say, out of the 14 million, how many do we win? And he says, 1, right? And then later, Doctor Strange gives Thanos the Infinity Stone, and then to spare Iron Man's life. And Iron Man asks him, why did you do that? And he said, he either said like because I had to, or it was the only option. It was like one of those. So we know what's going to happen is, since Doctor Strange can reverse time, he's going to go back in time, or something of that nature, and they're going to days of the future past it and bring everyone back to life.
Well, yeah, but if Doctor Strange is trapped in I think the rumor is that everybody's who was whisked away in the ash is trapped inside of this soul stone.
Yeah, they're probably in another dimension or something,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Which seems reasonable.
Yeah, it's like,
And,
you go to that's actually a good possibility, because they go to the next film, and then it's like, oh, there they are.
Yeah.
And then it's like, how do we get out of here? And then they got to figure out a way to get out of there and stop Thanos because he's changed the world and everything's terrible, and they got to stop him, and that's what they'll do. They'll end up killing him and bringing everyone back.
And
We just figured out the plot to the next film. You're welcome. We saved you a year's worth of waiting.
so I think one of your immediate reactions was that it was a ballsy move to end with all of these deaths.
Yeah, it was great.
To end on this great cliffhanger. My favorite scene in this movie, which actually parallels Last Jedi really well.
Oh, now this movie
is
really...
Loki,
Okay, but I'll get
or
into
not
that
Loki,
in a minute.
is Thanos with all the power in the universe sitting on this edge of this cliff.
The
and
final
he's
shot of
just-
the film?
Yeah, and he's just alone.
Yeah.
He's got all the power in the universe, and there's no one there. And if he really did love Gamora, as
would've
he
let her
said,
well, he couldn't get the stone then. He had to kill her.
he lost the only person he loves, his adopted daughter.
Yeah. I think they're gonna all come back. Doctor Strange is gonna be in the other dimension with all the characters faded away. He's gonna transform time. Captain Marvel's gonna show up. Brie Larson. She'll play a role somehow. But no, this was a great movie that handled all these characters so well, and it drags a little here and there. You're like, okay, do I have to watch this much time to see a gigantic Peter Dinklage build a hammer?
That was great.
Yeah.
We were cracking up because I didn't expect that. Like, was he in any other movies?
No.
Yeah, that was great.
I don't think
We
so.
were like,
I
wait a
haven't seen
second.
Ragnarok, so I don't know.
He's like a little guy, and then he's a big guy.
Yeah,
So
that's sweet.
it was actually a little bit offensive too. So.
I don't know. I thought he would think that's pretty cool. Like if I was Peter Dinklage, I'm like, hey, all right, I
You
can
mean
be
to say-
gigantic.
I'm a little guy, but also the biggest guy.
Yeah, that's a good Peter Dinklage. Like I'll totally do that role. Yeah. But yeah, we didn't need that much time on
And I
something.
know things.
I don't think we needed that much time to focus on like scenes like that, but at least you know from the start that this antagonist is not fucking around. This is not someone we're gonna forget because like 5 minutes in, he violently murders Loki.
Yep.
We think Thor is dead. Where I thought that was sort of a tonal issue. Like after Thor is dead, they cut to another scene. They're like making jokes. They had their Marvel-esque humor. It's like Thor just died. But then, of course, he comes back.
Well, we
later
knew
on.
Thor wasn't going to die in the first 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, maybe not. I thought they might, considering what I was reading. But once they brought up, but that was a little weird. But I like the fact that Thanos is a real threat, and he wins in the end, like in Empire
And he
Strikes
was
Back.
scary.
Yeah, and the scary thing was he wasn't like your typical bad guy who says like, if you give me this information, I'll spare you, and they give him the information. He's like, I lied, ha 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 ha, and
Right.
he kills you. Like he's like he has empathy, and you can actually kind of listen to him and be absorbed by his words.
Right. I liked him.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to make the comparisons to like certain people who are president of our country, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's won over more than half the population. So you look at this guy Thanos, who's like kind of this likable guy.
Yeah.
And he was scary, and his little minions, like I don't know the names of the
like the guys who would sacrifice themselves in
the dark. I've got my notes
yeah, he
here.
has like little demons that fight the
Not even those guys. The Black Order.
yeah.
So Proxima Midnight, Ebony Maw, Cole Obsidian, and
Like his butler who
Corvus
was like killing
Glaive.
everyone.
these guys are great. I love
Yeah.
watching them. The performances are great.
Yeah.
Although the scene where the one guy gets shot out the window
Yeah.
and goes into space, he's like, coming back into space. I'm like, yeah, he's coming back. He's gonna use the Force like Princess Leia.
Yeah. Okay, so here's okay. I'm gonna finish on this review and then I'm gonna go on my Last Jedi rant, which is, I liked that the antagonist was antagonizing. I like the fact that he won. I like the fact that you could kind of see why he's doing what he does. He actually he doesn't laugh when he kills you. He actually kind of gives a speech like, I'm sorry I'm doing this. Like there's a certain amount of guilt to his actions that he projects, and Josh Brolin did an amazing job.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing him in Deadpool too.
God, it's like Josh Brolin. Now it's like if you're an actor, you're gonna get cast in a comic book movie, no matter what.
Well, we had 2 years ago. We had the Matthew McConaughey.
Which
This year we're gonna have the Josh Brolin.
Yeah. And look at Ryan Reynolds. He played Deadpool in the shitty adaptation of Deadpool with X-Men Origins Wolverine. He was the Green Lantern, and then he came back as Deadpool as the way we all love Deadpool.
Yep.
So it comes full circle, folks. So, but yes, the ending, a lot of people, it will leave people really split on it. I love the fact that I have friends of mine who are critics and friends of mine who are fans, and both of them are equally split, where either they love it or they hate it.
Wow.
And it's like, if a movie can do that on such a commercial level, a comic book movie, I think artistically you're doing something right. And that's what I really loved about this film, because no matter what, it's going to incite a reaction out of you. Like with X-Men X-Men Last Stand, it tried to incite a reaction, but everyone's reaction was, this is bullshit. This one, everyone's reaction when they're killing off characters is either, this, what the fuck? Or, oh wow, they really went there. I wonder what's going to happen. So I give Disney credit to giving the Russo brothers, as you told me, the option to challenge its audience and have them put faith in the movie.
I wouldn't say challenge the audience as far as it was challenging per se, but you're also like respecting the intelligence of the audience.
Yes.
Who can say like, I know these characters aren't dead. So it's kind of a cool way to end this movie. I mean, they could have done like the Deathly Hallows Part 1 ending where the ending's like, well, this is bad, this is happening, but we're gonna get him in the end, and you know that, and that's the end, right?
Yeah.
So we could have had that scene where Iron Man comes out and says, "Oh, we got to get this guy."
You could have like cut to like maybe somebody waking up in the other dimension that they're in, or whatever.
Yeah, or Iron Man, Captain America.
Well, they had Captain Marvel.
They hug it out, and they like maybe get this
Oh, that's something I never pointed
Robert
out. I
Downey
love that.
Jr. Iron Man like love scene or something.
I love that we never got that in this film. That it was more
that
realistic.
they didn't get
back together, and they're
yet?
like, there's a bigger threat, but more so than you and me. Like they don't have that moment.
Yeah.
It's more like we still fucking hate each other. We're not talking to each other, even as a
Well, because they were on different planets.
That too.
Yeah.
But they could have written a way where they meet up.
Oh, but didn't Spider-Man's death just tear your heart out?
That was heartbreaking. Because he's like this scared kid, who's like, what's happening? And Iron Man's telling him, it's going to be okay, kid. It's going to be okay. He's just trying to give him a sense of peace.
Do you think that Tony Stark didn't know, like thought maybe he was really dead, or do you think Tony Stark's like, we're gonna get out of this?
I think he was just trying to comfort a child in a moment of pure terror. Yeah. That's what I mean. They finally took a chance with this one.
I didn't like Spider-Man: Homecoming, so this is like I really liked that. I like Spider-Man in this.
You didn't like Spider-Man?
I'd like it better. No, I like it better if it was Tobey Maguire.
Oh, fuck Tobey Maguire. Yeah. I like the Spider-Man movies. The Raimi movies are great outside of the third one.
I like the third one.
I liked how the new
great, but...
Spider-Man actually literally had to go down a list of how not to do the same thing. Yeah. But yeah, so let's wrap it up. Captain America The Avengers Infinity War, Part 1. Would you recommend it?
You'll probably agree, but I definitely recommend this movie, especially if you're sort of like got the Marvel exhaustion at this point. I'm sure we're all going to be there in a few years with Star Wars, but now
I'm already there.
Someone's already exhausted with Star Wars. I'm looking forward to the movies, but no, definitely, especially if you're worn out on Marvel, this is a treat if you really like movies.
Yeah. I actually share your sentiments. I remember when I came into this film, I wasn't that excited to see it because I'm like, another Marvel movie. It's gonna have our hero moments. It's gonna have, and it did have that, and it's gonna, it'll be another feel good. Like we know how the sausage is made at this point in these films, and this one was a very challenging, pleasant surprise where. This is the first time I'd be happy to hear people groaning walking out of the theater, So, yes, it's absolute recommendation. I'd love to see it and this movie. So, yeah, it's an absolute recommendation for me. The Avengers Infinity War. Go see it.